Good morning and welcome to. Okay, I am confused, Nathan, because my computer, which I work on, someone has kicked me out. But thank God I'm logged into another one, which I don't use. So I'm confused. Welcome to Zambia Block Talk Radio. My name is Roger. Here in the prairies. We had a wonderful show with Zindaba and Nathan there. Yes. What the women farmers are doing in Zambia. So I hope a lot of people are going to connect with them and do something with them. But gentlemen, welcome. Francis in Florida, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning and thanks for having me. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're getting us from.
Yes.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, good morning, Campbell.
Hey, good morning from New York.
Yes. Babimbe in London. Are you in London? No, we just assume everyone in UK is in London. I asked you that question last week. I remember.
Where the so-called computer is playing football? In Brighton.
Brighton.
Oh,
Brighton.
Yeah.
Brighton.
Basically.
But London is much easier, I think.
London is about
London. Yeah. Welcome.
Thank you, sir, and welcome to all my colleagues on the panel. And thank you, viewers, for watching this discussion. I'm excited to be here and participate.
Yeah. So we have a packed discussion today, as always. Those who are joining us, leave us a comment there to see what direction you want. Welcome to Open Forum. Yes, thank you for that. Welcome to Open Forum. This is again another show. We wait for this show, Francis. It takes too long to come. Saturday seems to take very far. But
I think it takes 65 days.
Unbelievable. Yes, so we have a packed house. Last week, if you remember, gentlemen, we were unpacking some pictures. Campbell, you missed out. My goodness. So we have one picture we need to unpack before we go to the press conference our president had. And I want to hear what you gentlemen think about the visit. Tony Blair, why Tony Blair is visiting America in the first place. Let's begin with this one. Zambia. Let's begin with this one. My imagination, Francis, tells me Joe Biden picks up the phone and he tells Boris, tell Tony right now he needs to go to Zambia. We need to reinforce this friendship we are starting, we don't want to mess around. You go to Zambia. Am I wrong?
I agree with you. You might be right. I think the British government has seen what the Americans have done, and most of the time, look at the greatest ally for the US is Britain. So what they're trying to send there is actually phasing out China. They want to get the first and second visit or meetings with the new head of state, so that whenever China calls him to Beijing, of which they have to, it won't be news, as we say. But I think this is a statement. These things don't just happen.
No, that's the point.
They don't just happen.
Yes.
These are policy things. They're strategizing themselves. They're coming back in Africa through Zambia, because we are the best example. Free and fair elections, no wars, and we have potential. So I think this is it was a good statement.
Yeah. Kambo, how should we? Yeah.
And that's in that. I just want to overread. I think I'm now in the office. He's so much used to tear gassing and running away, being ridiculed, but this time around, he's in office. So I think it feels good. He's enjoying the moment. You can even tell the step is different now.
Yeah. Kambo, how should we play this? Because I'm sure it is irritating China, and we owe China a lot of money. How should we play this game we are seeing here? Remember, he has seen two powerful nations. Number one, America. Number two, the British are traveling to Zambia. China is not happy about this.
No, the Chinese, I think, are not even worried. They shouldn't. I think they shouldn't even worry, because we owe them so much money, right? For me, Britain and America are trying to play catch up in Africa, and yes, like Francis has said, using Zambia to come through. But at the end of the day, our friendship means nothing if there's no money on the table. And I'm not talking about $30 million. I'm talking about, if you're serious about establishing relationships with Zambia and you're serious about Africa, begin to invest some serious money. Talk about billions of dollars. So I'm hoping that some of these visits, especially like Mr. Blair coming, he wasn't just coming there as a courtesy call, but he was coming there representing other parties that are saying we are serious about investment in Zambia. And for me, that's what counts. China is another issue. China is an all-weather friend who comes bearing gifts, though shrouded in secrecy. But we have to be optimistic that maybe the West is ready to play ball at the stage that China has been playing it.
But Babimbe, your take, how smart should we play this game?
Thank you very much, Roger. This is a very great moment, and if you had listened to his comments, was that, well, we came to Britain, we visited your institute, but unfortunately you were traveling. So we didn't have, but of course we had a very good discussion. Now, a bit of background. When Tony Blair left Prime Minister, he created an institute. That institute played a very key role in Rwanda, in the way they organized themselves. If you remember Dambisa Moyo, after the release of Dead Aid, was one of those people part of that institute. So to me, I think Hakainde has learned what impact Tony Blair had on kind of helping the Rwandan government think through on A, how to utilize aid effectively, and B, how to try to win off from aid. So that's the way I'm looking at it from that angle.
Okay, I mean, I like that, because like Francis said, these things don't just happen in vacuum, or as it were. They happen for a reason. Like, so you want to add on to what the gentlemen have said, or we can move on?
Yeah, I can add on a little bit. First, I can push a Vavimbe. Everyone actually last week. Vavimbe Mlishan. So then I'll piggyback on what Vavimbe has said. I don't see it necessarily as an East versus West type of program. What has happened is that the people of Zambia have shown the world, have stood tall on the global stage and shown the world that we are a fair and good people. And leadership or political leadership in Zambia is decided by the people. We are the epitome of democracy. And these countries on the West propagate democratic type of government. It wasn't incidental that His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema was invited to the White House on that score. And even the Zambian, the American president gave a shout out to the youth of Zambia. The democracy lives in Zambia. So these countries that promote democracy. So when America takes the lead like that, usually Britain follows. I was actually caught unawares. So but tuenda nechipawo chandalama okuti identify my programs and my institutions yakusamo invest in Elo Zambia being a former British colony naka British pound fewa America ngabamphela kapia naba Britain nabo balaisa posa pochi British pound ntu jamiponena. So that is the way I see it, is them to try and water something good that they have seen in Zambia.
I like that.
It's not about them fighting China or anything, but something to water something good that they see in China. Somebody mentioned here Padiba Rwanda. Rwanda is a stinking dictatorship, but they have invested billions of dollars in there. So now they also must feel ashamed of themselves that they invested too much money in a stinking dictatorship. Democracy kulusaka. So if you're going to be able to kushala kunumba, so navena by pose pofia and but to reorganize the chalo. That is the way I see it. Anyway, thank you. Let others come.
Yeah, you know, Bakasoso, that's very interesting. For Malan. Number one, bali monokwepati mumwesu na kumalika dictator kadesa kalungu abaije bakasepa. So
10-0.
Now Manafiati ababantu aba utuma bombana bwaba. It doesn't matter what the Kalitu dictator does. They have this stamina to fight that. So that is their interest. I like that part where they say they've supported the dictator in Rwanda, and now Nakari Rubanatha Nakare Akaresha in Akari Zambia. So I'm sure they are. Lastly, again, question, I think one way or another. But yeah, someone said we should ask for more. Kambo said that we should ask for more to come without blackmailing them. What should we ask? What should we ask from these people at that?
To me, I think is Hakainde is very strategic. Again, it's more of saying, okay, there was the UN conference. Then he happened to go there. He met the people in the US, whatever. And Hakainde said there are two more to go, important visits that you make. So I suspect those two could be one in Asia and the other one probably in the EU. So again, it's more of trying to say, look, we are back. We are here. We are not going to come and beg, but we want to work together. It's about partnerships. And we are going to define what we need. And you come in and help us. So it's a kind of a goodwill kind of thing that is created. It's a way of going there with respect, mutual respect from both parties. So again, yeah, it's not about East-West. but is trying to make the best of what it is, either from the east, from the west, from the north.
I like the two things that Vavimbi has mentioned: goodwill and partnerships. I don't believe in Ukupokendalam. I don't. Number one, facilitate. Let's create partnerships. Bring in institutions, organizations that are going to partner with Zambians. The key thing that needs to be done here, which he said himself on the press conference, is revamping the economy above everything else. If you have democracy, nama politics, if it fall in place, in my opinion, what it just takes is the leader to set the tone. Who take up watching for 12th August, to market. Did the police do anything? Nobody did anything. Things just fell in place because the leader at the top changed. In my opinion, those things don't need much to do. The economy is where the work is. Again, on what Wabimbia said, partnerships and goodwill, those things are very important. They have confidence and trust in you. They can literally do anything for you. All of us here have got friends whom we can call anytime. Because you have that relationship, they will do anything for you. So that's what I see, that HH's government administration is in that position and going that direction where these are, I'm not going to comment on Tony Blair. I don't know what organization Tony Blair does. But for me, goodwill and partnerships are very important. We don't need money. We need partnerships.
Just to follow that, Roger, if I may, but Bankama mentioned something that's very profound. But I'll begin with, first and foremost, let's not make a mistake. The Americans calling HH and Tony Blair going to Zambia is a political move. You have to understand politics of the world. Zambia, America cannot just come with Britain to Zambia and change things. Why? The Chinese, we owe them 6 billion. It means they tell us where to go. We owe them so much. The Americans understand that. The only way they can make an impact is helping Zambia pay some of that debt, and to distract us from China, they propose something, programs that will help the economy, because they understand HH's number one thing is reviving the economy. That's the number one thing. So what the Americans are doing now is proposing on how they can help Zambia's economy bounce back. So all these visits, these are political moves. The scramble for Africa, you have to understand that. African politics. So every move, there's no country that's just going to come. Canada is all of a sudden they're building bridges, or they're doing a ball for you. They're not doing that for free. It's scramble for Africa. So everything is politics. But the most important thing is, you have leaders who sit back and negotiate. If I'm at it, the first thing I'll say, if I had to come here, is, what are you intending to do for Zambia? Don't come here and say, this is what we want, we need this, we need that. No. First, and I believe that's what the government is doing. The man has been in business for a while, so I know he knows how to broker a deal. That I'm not worried. Unlike the dancing president we had. This is my point. They are there for a political reason. So we need, if Zambia's economy is going to bounce back, we need to be a manufacturing economy. I believe so. If we're going to handle the unemployment problem, there is no way unemployment levels will go down just through small businesses. No. The government, I know government doesn't create jobs. They facilitate. So we need manufacturing to come back to Zambia. We're in a central position. Let's use our location as a landlocked country. You know, tourism, manufacturing, all these things coupled with small businesses being funded and people having access to loans, will improve our economy. The less dependence we have on China, the better for us. And America knows. That's the reason they're looking at the 6 billion. That's not a joke.
But Francis, in fact, the debt situation is worse than that, right? They're saying we owe China about 12 billion international debt plus domestic debt. The president said is around $20 billion. So, I mean, we have our work cut out for us. But one of the things that was impressive about that press conference, I don't know about Roger, but if we're going ahead, Blair.
Because it is deeper, Wakasonso.
No, but Roger.
Look at let me give you a way, Cambo. Let me give you a way. We owe China a lot of money, so the Americans are discussing the money. What is the next one? Is what is our common complaint with these mining companies in Zambia?
No, the main complaint
we don't the people of Africa don't benefit from the resources. So when we are talking to the Americans, what should we be saying?
Yes, No, when we're talking to the Americans and everybody else who wants to come and invest, I think we need to be adamant about some of the conditions that we have. For example, these mining companies don't just dodge taxes. They have been enabled by laws and deals that they have made with government because somebody in government is benefiting somewhere. So what we need our government to do, whether it is the Americans, the British, or the Chinese coming in, or whichever mining sectors companies coming in, we need to be adamant about what it's going to benefit, how it's going to benefit Zambia.
Exactly.
So now, when we're putting together a tax regime, it has to be a progressive tax regime that actually, over time, gives us invests back into Zambia. Externalization of capital of profit is understandable.
Yes, Makasoso.
Nenempika olama taxes yavantu no Washington if we look at the economy of the United States, the revenue collected from the aggregate of all taxes, the contribution Yama taxes put in national budget is 39%. It's less than 40%. So government has other avenues through which it brings in revenue and things like that. And the majority of that 40% ni kuma personal income taxes, not kuma companies. So, but in Zambia, we have this mindset that we can tax our way into prosperity from the mines. The mistake was made with the mines. The mines were put 100% in foreign hands. If the mines were even just 60% in foreign hands and 40% ama shares ya bena Zambia, kalaka pia bakola kumukotinga kala shala ko Muzambia. Mfula mlepita mu pipe mula shala mesh. So ngakala shala ko Muzambia kalaka pia. Two, we like to export copper as it is, and this government, I'm glad they've identified that we need to expand the value chain for the copper so that more people have hands on those precious items in producing other items. Tax, kalu samushaka kalabana sana, and it's the responsibility of every accountant in any company to minimize the taxes. And the mining companies hire the best accountants in that area. So ngachako bati mulefo kubanyunya parika tax ni failure na kavi. Apa kubanyunya ni expanding production. It's expanding production. It's expanding production and extending the value chain. I think there are more benefits than even an increased tax rate by another 25%.
Before we even talk about taxes, maybe that is the common element we wanted to 70% of GDP as Zambia, if you mine, and yet our mines they only contribute 10% to our economy. The question Malay Karapo Avena HH Nabashara is how can we get more? Forget about taxes. In any other form. They've trusted their investment in our country, but they don't want to keep the money in Zambia. so that that money can be used for us to borrow or to do that in capitalize our banks. They don't want to do that. So today, relationship to a bank. Yeah, new year. These are some of the things to feel building headquarters go Australia. Toronto Exchange. Afirisheni Lusaka Exchange. Kemeko. We can win Dalama. I'll end with.
No, but Roger, this is why I was saying that the way we negotiate these tax regimes is important. You know, as much as the majority of the income is not coming from taxing the mines, but how we set up, for example, the externalization of profits. Can we work something out in that regime to the extent that not all their money is externalized at the pace that they have been externalizing it? Maybe they externalize it in batches, but making sure that that money is not just sitting in banks, but is circulating within the economy, number one. Number two, Zambians supplying the mines, because that is business, right? And being paid on time, and not just the same people who are well.
Okay, let's move away from taxes. Let's move away.
But Roger, I want to say something. Campbell mentioned something very important.
Yeah.
Tony Blair and mentioned about allowing Zambians to also contract with the mine. This is the biggest area they should look at. Don't let the mines just come in and you sign a deal and that's how everything is met. No. Like where I live here, right now they were doing a road, the I-4. They have a clause in the council. I think it's about 12%. All those contracts, 12% should be given to small businesses. This should be enshrined in the contract. When you do that as a government, you are creating employment for Zambia also. And to ensure, Campbell mentioned a very important thing. He said, ensure that the payments are made in time. Not they wait, they're 2 months behind payment. You can't. So, but that starts from the beginning. So do that in the initial stages of the deal. And then another thing is the environmental factor. For those who are from the belt, you know, Sentanga from Opotwale Kola. You know? So, Joseph Idia, Kumufulira, they had a problem, but Nathan. Yeah, I mean, Shina, Bantukulalo, and they started dying. See, but all those investors, they were not responsible for that because it wasn't in the initial deal. This is the reason why some of these deals should pass through Parliament. They shouldn't just be given to contractors from state out. I disagree so much with all these deals, ING in the past, all these big things being brokered by the executive. It's wrong. The executive should have a say, but Parliament also should check the contract and see, are they, is the contract itself looking at Zambians first? So you safeguard all those things. Small businesses, make it higher. 15% of maybe small contracts should be given to small businesses in Zambia. By small businesses, they don't mean minister, apanga company, ambukula supplier. No. So let people participate in that. And then, like Walmart comes here when they're about to build Walmart. They make sure my roads Walmart around that place. Why can't we start doing all that? So, you know, our contracting tactics have been very poor because one man is given 2 million. He just signs the signature type of what they want. It's ridiculous. So I think this will change it back.
You see, gentlemen, this is what we are saying. When we see Ayama relationships, we need to go deeper. You know, teach Tunga relationship. China finish to Chitira. China they building a hospital you know. So we have an upper hand here. Not to want to put you black you was niche to pay to be careful for that you are saying that stuff they cannot take back. You know,
so
what's the money in the bank? If it is Kalamba, let's think big. But
let's think strategically on these taxes. I agree with Bakason. The way if you're going to look at taxation as a source of revenue for the government through companies, I think that's a wrong way to look at things. I'll give you an example. In the UK,
I think we have agreed on that one.
Okay, finish that. If you look at the UK and Europe, they've had problems with the giants in the internet, Googles and whatever. They make lots of money, but ask me how much tax they pay. Maybe 0.005% of tax. It's very hard. The way to go about it is to allow an environment that these companies can thrive. Then these companies, when they thrive, they spawn the ecosystem. These are the value addition, the other companies. Those other companies creates employment, and not just temporal jobs, quality jobs. When the government is able to collect pay as you earn from those people and other taxes. But to just go and say, well, how much minerals have you got? So much we pay. You get
no,
tax.
but yeah, but
hold on.
Because what you're saying, I mean, there's value to what you're saying, but the problem is that, for example, when these mining companies come by, Roger, we give them 5-year tax moratorium.
Yeah.
Right? We tell them to say you're not going to pay taxes for 5 years, and then after that 5 years, you're going to pay a certain amount.
One question
to the panel. Right now, as we are talking. One question to the panel. Right now, as we are talking, who holds money to the other in taxes? The government of Zambia or the mining companies?
Okay.
It's the government of Zambia that holds the mining companies. The reason why that is the case is that the calculation that the government made that they'll be able to collect this amount of taxes. Then they went ahead and imposed to get some money in the name of rebates against those taxes. So
this is not just about the issue of taxes. Let's forget about taxes. There is more we do to pocket in the lama. Not to let's move away from taxes. Let's go to our next. Apa not to quite advantage. Supply chain our trucks to Zambia. They are owned by the Shan. I'm suppliers. Canada. You know? Let's see, put a code. Should we be getting a issue? If I bathroom, South Africa, does that make sense? You know, so we have an upper hand there. Taxes, it's the simplest way. There is more. There is more mind you money. There is more. There is more. Anyway, let's go to the press conference. I don't know for my film, but I need 30 minutes. I'm sending 34 minutes. Just talking about Tony Blair. But I like the unpacking. You know, when everyone can just see Tony Blair, oh, nice of you. Now we come on this show, we unpack. That's the way we should be doing it. I love that. I love that. Now, it was a press conference. Once somebody in my interest, Nathan was only centered on the first thing he started with, talking about the meeting with Congo. Oh, he made my day.
I knew.
He made my day. He made my day. He made my day. Yes, I hope it's going to work because everything was on another system. Let's try this.
We went ahead and met on the continent, in the neighborhood, President Tshisekedi of Congo DR. You know, we share a long, long border with Congo DR. And we have a lot of opportunities as well as issues between ourselves and Congo DR over years. And we dedicated ourselves, my colleague, my brother, President Tshisekedi, and myself dedicated ourselves to focusing our relationship on the economy, on trade and investment. has a huge opportunity that we in this country have not been seeing properly. We have not evaluated properly in terms of what we can do with Congo. It's a huge market. We can produce more than what we produce and sell to Congo. Before forming government, I was campaigning. I gave you a message, a narrative that when we form government, I'll be the chief investment officer for Zambia. I'll be the chief salesman for Zambia. And there is our road towards that vision of being market access openers for our businesses. Small businesses, medium businesses, large businesses. We also said when we were campaigning that we do not want to call the Congolese as smugglers on the border. You can't call your customer a smuggler. We want to change that terminology. No more calling the Congolese as smugglers. Those are our customers. If we have not done our trade relationship properly, we'll restructure it now so that we can sell more goods into Congo and earn the much needed foreign exchange. And certainly, the president of Congo sees it the same way, that we have mutual benefits. And so, investment, relationship, brotherhood, sisterhood, based on common interest is what will drive our renewed relationship with Congo. And so is with other neighbors. Very, very important, extremely important to our own economy.
So put on your, again, your unpacking tools. In this meeting, you are there. Do you hear Nathan? What he says? Don't call the Congolese smart.
Yeah. I'll tell you this. Do
Yes.
you know how many times I listen to that clip you've just played? It's interesting you are doing this. 5 times. Cambo, and I filled 2 pages vacations of notes just on that clip Roger has played. I don't know if you're able to put that map up there, Roger. I want to show you something. Just the map.
Yeah, I will put it. Keep talking.
You see, the thing is, the reason I want him to put the map back on there, look at that map. He said, and this is what we do not realize. Okay, thank you. Do you see where Congo and Zambia's border is shared? First, start from the top there. You see where that lake is. I know the provinces have changed a little bit. Let me just say, from northern province, it covers Luapula province. Yaisoku, it goes through the Copper Belt province. It goes this way, all the way to northwestern province. Just one country, Vavimbe. One country. That's the first observation I make about this. And HH mentions that in his press conference, and he says, we have a very wide border with this country. In other words, so the people in northern province can directly do business, Paria. So, you know what I'm trying to say? The people in Luapula can do business with Congo directly. The people on the Copper Belt can do business directly with Congo. The people in northwestern province can do business directly with Congo. Number 2, he says, I am going to be the chief investment officer or the chief salesman officer. Many years, you've heard me say on this radio, Cambo, I don't know why Twako Selo Kuchita business with America and Europe, and yet there is a big market across the border there.
Yeah. You know, and that's
not just Congo, even
Angola.
Tanzania, Angola. Inensha ishiwecho twako sela pali America, na pali European Union.
You know.
I understand that. But you see, what is the population of Congo? You see, that's the point.
Yeah.
80
million.
80 million people. It's
Yeah,
4 times more than Zambia.
Yes, and the Congo imports $1 billion worth of just food and agricultural produce. $1 billion
from Zambia.
No, from everywhere.
No.
They
from
import from
everywhere,
South
but
Africa.
the share of that listen than South Africa.
Yes.
Do you know that conversation we had with Zindaba about agriculture? We can take 50% of that chunk of 1 billion and supply for. If I remember at one point, Zambia Sugar Company, I do not have the statistics. Their biggest market was Congo. All those that's why, let's go back to the beginning, Roger, and I'll end with this. If we go manufacturing, the market is across the border. Guys, Shingi, without worrying about ship for 3 months, visa for America, without worrying about cargo going to Europe, just across the border. Roger, one time, when you show the picture of a matrax, Pakasumbale Sapari. We need to solve all those problems.
Exactly. We have huge opportunities and we have issues with Congo. First and foremost, I go in, when you were saying, let's not be calling these people as smugglers. So I'm seeing Francis, he's negotiating this meeting. I see his negotiating jacket on. First, someone help me here. What was the relationship between Abena Congo and what was the relationship?
If there was one.
It was just asleep. He was asleep overnight.
Congo again takes up 70% of our exports. Fia ku Congo. And yet ngawa muna ku kasumbalesa kwa ama abakapokola apa kumanya ama soldier military. Niko military zone ngawaya. To me again that doesn't make any sense.
And it's very interesting because HH really has seen the potential in what we can make, what we can get from just Congo yes. being our trading partners. I'll take it further. Look, how many trucks from other countries pass through Zambia to go and trade with Congo? We are landlocked. Why can't we do a turnpike kind of system? Let's tax those trucks as they travel through our country. The problem is to at least end up being landlocked that it's a case. We've never used our advantage of being landlocked. Everybody comes in our roads, they destroy our roads, they pass through to go and deliver to Congo. So if we start with just us dealing with Congo, agriculture, trade, Shan, fiance, and coming back to earlier on, I think 4 shows backwards, we talked about how HH should empower all these ministers of provinces to actually run their economies, provinces. Imagine Vankamawa Chilanda, we have now with the changing of provinces, I think now we are going to have maybe like 4 or 5 provinces bordering with Congo. Imagine if every minister is trying to strike a deal, of course through federal government, but every minister is trying to strike a deal. How much revenue and just employment we can generate? People can stop coming to Lusaka. Like we always say. So let's build even roads and we build a proper, not even Mukupita Great North Road. No, build a road.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if let
me just finish. Sorry. If you build roads, there are certain things that mushroom from out of that. Now you have restaurants, now you have gas stations, now you have hotels, now you have rest areas. Or instead of everything being centered in Lusaka, you can have progress along the roads. Look at this country. If you exit Barikwata, they have the Walmart, they have this, they have a subdivision there, they have schools. That's how you develop a country. We can't have a country like Zambia, so powerful, so strategic, position-wise. Only 70%, only 60-something% of it in Mpanga. You can't do that. We have the potential. Everybody goes through us to go to some of these countries. Even Congo itself when going to South Africa. So, You know,
yeah,
let's think outside the box.
The point ya Kukatanga, ya Yonse province ya Katanga, it is probably the richest in Congo.
Indeed.
Those depend on the supplies coming through or
Zambia.
from Zambia. The entire of that region. But and yet we teach them if you feel Landa, so if you feel don't call them smugglers. Smugglers to abeta kona wino. Abantu tuwamala kwati ne bakabolala. That's the relationship. The chief negotiator is telling us, stop. Let's look at it. Go ahead, Bakasoso.
Ila mapu mwachitulanga na nendande. Ila mapu mwachitulanga. Nachira mwana kwa chimuntu na chimini na kafumaka kolwe na chikwato lukaselo lukasalo Australia di Zambia. Muriamu kafuma muriamu dollars. So lukasalo di alonse ni Zambia. The foot of the Congo. The foot of the Congo is in Zambia. This country cannot work without Zambia. This country cannot work without Zambia. So if you look at the numbers, uko bachita importive into Zaire. Ni ku China. Ba China bakutali. But wa China bali pa number 1 with 9%. Ero ba South Africa bali 15%. Ba Zambia bali pali 12%. So ba South Africa abali ukutali okukumukira wenso kukonshi. N'abatuchila bali pali 15% bali 12. All we need to do is just to ramp up and increase that number so we get the Congo market. So instead of bali sambishi abantu Chinese in my class. Abantu bawekere mu kusambira French français ne chibemba ngaba na français ne chibemba mu Zaire. Balaki a business we know. And two, the other thing we need to recognize about the Congolese market. Tuyamkushita crude oil ku Middle East. Kushemu alishwa crude oil moya ba mu Zaire. We can get crude oil from Zaire. You know, and there are cost savings just on the transportation. If you're buying close by, we can get either from Angola or get contracts from that. All the countries in East Africa, bale ba involved in Munkondo, mke mkulila fyotuwa minerals kwa ku Congo. Kula ba ibamo, na ba Rwanda ba ibamo, ba bika kuna tumbu reserves ya banki yabu, na ba Uganda kulia ba iba kuma goma kulia. But, you know, but right now, Congo needs to be forming a stable government with the help of the Chinese. So China mulanda kusana na kupi nemwala isanga kuzairi. So when the president talks about creating a better business, okay. Iyo tuaishi mtu wale pita tualile kono pia so
shala president
so tatuchimona ichalo chimasha in fact yako twalepo kana dola ngaisa seji kaze no wesu kuchira bomba mulia twalapo dola twalaika labuni ni twaishi bati twala nwako ama Coca-Cola ama Fanta ama shani twala China arifu makuzairi na dola. So but anyway, the whole thing of pushing trade with the Congo and integrating Zambia with the Democratic Republic of Congo is probably the most positive move economically since the founding of the republic, because the potential of that country is going to be synergized with ours. Yeah, and I am very excited. The president had a very important meeting with the powerful organizations that have put their money in Rwanda. He never mentioned them. He never mentioned them as a strategic partnership, because that is other people's money going to sit and making investments in Rwanda. Then they want to create subsidiaries in Zambia. Who is interested in that? Let them stay in Rwanda. You know, there's nothing there in Rwanda. Let them stay in Rwanda. Let's go and do business in the Zaire. In the Congo. So, and then because of where the borders are, ama borders kula konse sule ya bena Congo na wabale trade fair kwa tumuleshisha kwa finto mule kebena Congo bese mkupa kwa Mzambia tukwate kwa na ma breeds ya fiba na fipa kamile kwa fiesha kwa na marumba if kashike you know, let's have cultural exchange as well, arts exchange as well, sports exchange as well. So let us try to form a little zone, economic zone with that country. When we synergize their capabilities and our economic capabilities, I think we are going to do well as a country. So I agree with the president on his integration with the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Yeah, that's very powerful, Dr. Kasonso. Very cultural, chairman, cultural. Nama cultural on Twanikan. We need to address that as well. Seriously.
They should get their act together. You know, when you look at this map, where is this map here? What about sure? Look at this map again. Mwana inuko Kinshasa, ubutadi. Icharo chonse chashara fecheko. Why can't they bring for demonstration purposes? This is why Eastern Congo is rotten. Eastern Congo is rotten. Mama dishes veka. Ukuba abo Kinshasa oku. Baka ilete pakati. Start managing Icharo Gwino. This, one thing. Babimbe, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I think we've spoken most of the contributors have spoken all the positives that we need to tap into the Congo. What we also need to do is, we cannot just go do simple trade, buy from China, send to Congo. I think we need to be strategic as well. And also trade should be the same. If we look at, if you are a guy selling to people, you are going to look at the population. Even if the population is bigger, you look at the disposable income of those people around that thing. So that will be key within the SADC region. The other thing that would actually spur this, I think Zambia can take leadership on that. We have COMESA in Lusaka. We have also SADC. These organizations operated as political organizations. I think it's time, with Hakainde in charge, to shift these organizations into looking at the economic aspect of that. Then they have to kickstart and move forward with the common customs union, which SADC is looking into. So there are pieces that needs to be put in place. But the key for us is value addition. Value addition, if we can create that, factories, then we can export proper stuff to the Congo and other regions. It's not only that. Zambia used to have the best, I don't know now, the best mining engineering or mining training at the University of Zambia. That's another source of revenue. Congo has got the mines. They need skills. Zambia can provide the training for those kind of skills. And
education.
Have that kind of, education is a key thing.
You see, Babimbe, you know, I'm mentioning Fidif Karambasan. I didn't understand Chimila in a speech. Machufa, Nathan was writing. He says, Congo has so much potential, we don't even realize. Go ahead, Babimbe.
Yeah. So when it comes to also instability is a big thing. Congo, yes. you know, is the only country, I think, one of the few countries that has got what they call rare metals. I don't know whether you've heard of those.
Yes.
Rare metals are the ones that they put in mobile phones and stuff. That's why there is instability in that area. It's the militias and the warlords. So that's another aspect. And I think Zambia sits on the Great Lakes organization that's trying to look at the peace in that country. So again, that's a leadership role that Zambia can play in that area.
Kabili abale fulunganya abene uyu ne bachirayi baba Kasonso uyu ku Rwanda no yu Museveni bonse badeba panga sana.
It's a bit there.
I am so serious. I'm so serious, nothing about Congo. I started learning Swahili yesterday. I'm taking it very, very serious. Then
the other thing I wanted to just is away from maybe these things that we.
This is like a groove car rumba.
This is for Varoja. Yeah, this is for Varoja. I'm trying to look at this thing. The elections in Zambia were fought mostly online by the youth and the rest. Now, with social media, it breeds sometimes misinformation. We've seen, for example, the president's speech, people taking snippets,
yes,
and posting, and
yes,
that's misleading,
yes,
in windows and whatever. Now, here's a challenge for you, Roger. Why don't you, ZBTR, probably with Vakwetu and some other, say, Laura Miti, come together, create a fact-checking service. So what it does then is to debunk some of these myths. So you take what the president had said, somebody posts on Facebook, you fact check that and say, this is the truth. I think, I mean, you can create a project like that and get funding for it, and it can be run on crowdsourcing to verify facts. Because come 2026 and going through the whole so-called checks and balances, although I call them, making the government accountable, there will be a lot of misleading facts which will derail a lot of things and confuse people. So that's a project for you, Roger.
Sounds like a tough one, but we need that. Like I hate my groups when I want to post a thing if you are unchecked.
So anyway, that's
again. I want to repeat. Nalitambo Zambia Swahili the other day. Also, what I found is how much similarities Swahili and Bemba has, Swahili and Kaonde the way it has.
Yeah. There is Swahili is an adulteration of Nikao.
In short, Nathan, it is not even difficult for us Zambia like Swahili. I bring up this point because one time I was in Lusaka 2 years ago. Na pali apapa temukusa makongole mukuja pa restaurant na nena makongole ba isafira fini ba ambo kuja. Na yapo parape na amko epshano baba amwenso basa kutuka po wangu. They were thinking I'm CIA or something. But na be pusha ku Congo na imwe nista tumfani na. It was direct question. Why don't we get along, you guys? What do you think is the problem? Amakongole amba no kubutuka. But umowa shede I sent but language, my brother. It is language. A biggest problem, language. So I hope, I don't know, I'm going to create an institute under my mom's name to start teaching how I teach Swahili. You know,
I think Roger perception also has contributed to that.
Well, part of the perception, chitundu tatumfwana.
Na ilafi ati aba ni bakabola latini atale dealing na bakongole nomba. It's a negative statement. You know what I mean? So ile like ababe mbafile ali ata babe mbabonse info bakabola la. We were deemed that. You know, so I think this leaders said things.
That has always been
okay. In every room, my teacher from Ghana,
Francis, his statement HHR apangre. Don't call them smugglers.
Correct.
Ali shaka of your kulumbula fiancé. Ali there is no way and yet they are 70%. Your 70% of your export goes to them. That doesn't make any sense.
President people should start trusting
I'm sure
it's a two-way street.
Roger, you know, I think what we should do, like Babimbia said, this idea is just coming through my mind. Let's mobilize ourselves, diaspora, and do a get-together with the Congolese communities that we live with in the areas we are, as a way of starting the healing process.
Yes.
And
dismantling
the myth. Dismantling the myth. I'm going to do it in Dallas. I will do it in Dallas.
I like that.
I will I'll connect with the Congolese community and the Zambian community.
I like that.
We shall get together and dismantle the myths. Very quickly, Roger, you could see me fidgeting up and down. I was doing a fact check, like Bavimbe said. We need to be dealing with facts. The Congolese border with Zambia runs through provinces. Northern, Luapula, I didn't even know Central is also covered. Northern Luapula, Central Copper Belt, and Northwestern Province, 5. Can you imagine that?
So
5 provinces.
So my question to us also, for diaspora, is this. We have heard what the president has said, the opportunities that have been presented. The question is, what is our role and how do we take advantage of that? You know what I mean? So, for example, the biggest gap that we have, that Congo has, in fact, my numbers were a bit off. It's about $1.5, $1.6 billion in food imports, even from Argentina and the United States, right? So the question becomes, how do we put our monies together to begin to form commercial level type of enterprises that actually supply food to places like the Congo? Because I think the other thing here that we are very good at as Zambians is getting together and pooling our money together in order to take advantage of some of these business opportunities that come up. So we are all maybe doing something individually, but then how do we do something collectively? And if we're not doing anything individually, I think we have to step up and begin to do stuff like that. You know, so I'm doing something.
I like that idea. We could also start with some sort of a marketplace thing online that could also provide some of these linkages between different operatives from various countries. Say, I've got these items I want to ship. Who needs it? We create that kind of exchange. So that could be another way of starting to just open up these opportunities, because at the moment there isn't a central place or a place that one can go and say, I want to see what the Congolese want. You have to travel there. You have to, you know what I mean? It's all low level. It hasn't really matured. So an information broker of some sort could be helpful, or as a marketplace, so to speak. And then that thing could be getting money via transaction, whatever you connect, if you make a successful connection.
Yeah, and by the way, Congolese trade in dollars, huh? So, I mean, it's advantageous for Zambians to trade in dollars. So,
well, right now you are in Zambia. You can use your mobile money, which is in Kwacha, to send someone money who is in Congo, and they receive it in their money. You know, you see what I mean? Yeah. But again, Congo, Francis, what we have talked about, the stableness ya chalo chesu, isn't serious. Which one is going to be the launching pad, so to say? Zambia is perfect. What do you need as a transit point? What do we need? We are going to need Wakasonso, ama airport ya Suma. Not to Kurusaka Feko Waka airport. Nakena kambi fyako. Kapishe for our charge Nendarama. Ama hotels ya Suma. I am a tracks. What's to I'm a tracking spot. I'm a tracking station kuno.
Roger. Before Tamula kulivifia structures ukula na airport yanyu. Ukuya kuzaire from certain places mwaenda na banshi. What we need to do is build products. Economic theory yabena lungu yali ati kukule misebo, kukula fima airport, kukula nashani, then Zambia kunta nshinga wafiposa pamoika kontoloka. Ero chalo cha isafiro kontoloka cha jomba. Naba bafuma mayendo kuyatamveka teke nchito, you are fired. So what we need to do in the face of these new opportunities is to focus on the capacity to build products. What are those things we can grow in Zambia in abundance? And also work with this working government to streamline markets so that whatever we build, whatever we are developing, we have got an idea of where the market is. For example, before Shirakule Fima Chicken Run, Shianko Kwatnana taking Koko 6,000. Nishininji Shiba, Ninkwatama Friji, Ninkwatama Traxi, Mwakfibika, Ama agencies Yakuya Chiakwenkoko, or Kutuala Kongo, whatever it is, something like that. So what we need to do is go to work as Zambians. Economic empowerment, economic thing is not a handout. It's to take work, go home and build a product. Everybody in the country must be sensitive to doing something every single day. Do that. So that is the spirit we need to raise in Zambia. It's the spirit of productivity. And even for those of us who are in the diaspora, yes, we love sending money to our relatives, but we can shift our sending of money to little productive potentials. Even if somebody just grows a little garden of tomatoes and they are going to sell them to market, the people who come to sell to the market will have so much surplus there. They will take some of those tomatoes and they will go to a factory that builds tomato sauce, and we can export that. So the thing that needs to be done in Zambia is to get off the politics and go to work. Every Zambia, touch something, work something with the opportunity you have. And even for those of us in the diaspora, we've got to go there and work something with our people. That's what I think we should do. And then once we have built those things, the government helps us sell those products. We have the little income or the much income, and then that income is what we can, government can tax some of it to go and build us the opulent airports, the big buildings, the Cassava Bay Resort, and all those kind of things. But at this point, the elections are over. The people of Zambia have to go to work. There is no handout that is coming. The economy is not going anywhere without people touching something. So just do something wherever you are. Find an opportunity and do something.
Just on that, I think you're right when you say that, but sometimes it's easier said than done. The biggest problem we have in Zambia, when I look at it, is access to loans. Trust me, there are a lot of people right now who have great ideas on how they can grow their business, how they can trade, but they have no capital. It's the biggest hindrance. So now that we have a person
that's
like
the role of government now. Government has to provide that.
Exactly. That was my point. No. Let me finish. The government can create a platform where people can have access to loans. They can work with the banks. They can work with lending institutions. That will not actually put too much interest on the loans. Because once you start giving people money, you start providing a channel where people can access capital. That's how you stimulate small business. You just don't tell people and say, go and start small businesses. Trust me, we can have massive ideas. Why do you think sometimes we don't do it? One, it's the platform, of which the president now is saying, I'm creating this platform. Let us trade. If you look at his speech yesterday, the other day, he even talked about passport office or getting a license. You'll be getting that quickly because we want you to trade. So we have a president who's saying, I'm ready to create a platform. You guys now do the other things. But what I can say to him, also create a situation where people have access to loans. That's how you develop an economy. Yeah. Small businesses. These small businesses, they grow into bigger business. We are not saying the government should start dishing out money. No. They should be the big.
No. Don't apologize over that one. America, Texas. Headquarters SBA. Small Business Administration. What is the job of the SBA? It's mostly to dish out loans to small businesses and things to promote them at competitive rates so that they can operate. The entire SBA, go and Google SBA administration, Small Business Administration. What does SBA administration does? And where does it get its administration? It's from the Treasury. The SBA administration provides loans for small businesses to be able to create products or services within the economy. So the government has a significant role to raise money for small businesses. And let those funds be available for valuable ideas in the country. And then also you can have the private sector, the banks, the other lenders also participate in that market. And then you bring competition on the rates, so people can choose whether to go to the bank or to go get a government loan.
Before Kambo comes in, Sokotwane said this actually on the loans. Why the loans are expensive? Government is the biggest borrower who has caused all these problems. Once government releases all the money, there is enough money on the market, demand and supply. The money will be cheap. That's what he said in simple terms.
But it's because the government wants to do everything. That's where the problem is.
Exactly. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I do agree that there's a role for government, and I think that government can become a catalyst for some of these things we're talking about. And I think this is where, again, we have to be very creative in the kind of support we're asking for from foreign countries, right? So if the USAID says we have $50 million that we want to give to Zambia, what is stopping the government through the new Ministry of SMEs to say, can you fund $50 million worth of loans to small businesses in Zambia? So we just have to be creative in how we structure this. Yes, government has a role. But for me, I always come back to what John F. Kennedy says, ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. So for example, like Francis has said, one of the biggest challenges is loans. Gentlemen, to cultivate a hectare of maize from the preparation of land all the way through to inputs and harvest is only 15,000 kwacha per hectare. The question becomes, how do you, as an individual in the diaspora, set aside $625 at the current rate to help a group of 4 to 5 people to cultivate a hectare? Because that $625 of yours will multiply to something like $2,000 or $3,000 at the end of harvest, right? Or even more. So these are some of the creative things that we have to think about. And by the way, Congo and Zambia, according to ZBTR, have just signed a communique of bilateral trade aimed at enhancing trade between the two nations. The DRC chair says the two countries have agreed to quickly engage all relevant border agencies and to see to it that operating hours at Kasumbalesa border are extended from the current 6 hours to 18 hours, or to from 06 hours to 22 hours daily. So those are some
I was very surprised that video, which was posted actually on YouTube yesterday, the events, how quickly. He says they met Tshisekedi, actually. He pronounced it better. I didn't know how to pronounce that name. So when he pronounced it, Tshisekedi, Tshisekedi, where I used to say Tshisekedi. He meets him in New York. He mentions it on, was it Friday? On Friday, he mentioned the press conference. Yesterday, they're having a meeting and they're signing communique. This is how fast, this is how they are not playing games. Yeah. I was I was doing some research on YouTube to find, I don't know how I forgot to cut here a clip, how when they were signing. And they said they are very, very serious. So if there is one thing H has made my day, Nathan, this Congo thing, I am so happy. Whoever wants to rent some Swahili from me, you can register.
Yeah.
I'm very serious about that one. I'm very serious.
Roger,
yes.
When it comes to this, yeah, I do agree. Setting up an environment, that's the government's role. If we go back to the way the PF did things, all the infrastructure to help small businesses is there right now in Zambia. Mm-hmm. You've got the CEEC. There is other banks that can do that. Mm-hmm. We had the African Development Bank provide $25 million for aqua agriculture, but the government of the day at that time pretended it was theirs. The way that money was disinvested, nobody knows. So the whole thing here hinges on leadership and political will. Mm-hmm. And I believe the president has mentioned one of the key things they're going to do is reduce the cost of doing business. Mm-hmm. And these are some of those things. So all what is needed is a bit of legislation, streamlining those same infrastructures that are there, and then the small business ministry helping with that. On the loan side, that could be one of the key component of that. Money could be sourced, but I wouldn't want the government to give money directly. I want the government to guarantee the loans within the commercial banks.
Actually, that's what the small business, like has also talked about. They guarantee.
It doesn't just give loans guaranteed. It helps find the market. It helps with skills. It helps with equipment. So it's a whole kind of setup. And those setups, the infrastructure in Zambia is already there. The problem was they were politicized. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, that's always the problem.
They were politicized so that they can steal, so that they can steal. So one item is not going to be covered because we have run out of time. Mr. Simon Zukas, I bring up this for one reason. So Simon Zukas, 1925 to 2021. Born in Lithuania. I don't know if it was him or his dad. Born in Lithuania. Yeah, sorry. Born in Lithuania, settled in Zambia. He didn't like the way the colonialists were treating the Africans, so he became involved in the fight for our independence. And we have known this man from time immemorial. Through the Frederick Chiruba, time and time is been there. And any words before I say the other thing? Who wants to say something about Mr. Simon Zukas, who died?
I think, Ninshim, and I think sometimes we get lost in celebrating our own. We are remiss in celebrating our own heroes who fought for our independence, and to think that it was only Zambians of black skin that fought is kind of disingenuous, especially when you have the likes of giants like Simon Zukas. So I for one was celebrating the president for giving him a state funeral. He is as much a Zambian as anybody else, and again, I think it also speaks to Zambia's position in Southern Africa, that we are one of the only countries that has not fought an ethnic war, right? Where even after independence, whites were welcome, Indians were welcome, and they have been integrated into our society in such a lovely manner. And Zambians look down upon racism, and it's Mr. Simon Zukas is a hero, should be celebrated as such.
Indeed. I just want to concur, actually. True son of the soil. If you follow his politics, he didn't shy away from defending the vulnerable all throughout his political life. So to me, true son of the soil should be celebrated. These are our icons. He was not apologetic when he thought things were going wrong. He just said it because it represented the majority of Zambians. So he is a true icon. And it's just sad that he had to pass away. But may his soul rest in peace.
Well, I don't know, sad. We celebrated his life. He was 96. So he lived his life, right?
Indeed.
Which to 96. I think you've done once everybody 90. Oh, okay, sorry.
Your language things.
You see, the interesting thing about Mr. Zukas' life is, can you imagine being deported by a white colonial government?
As a white person.
A white person being deported by a white colonial government. They deported him to England, right? They deported him to England, where he started.
Oh, he was deported?
Yes, they deported him because of his work. They deported him. And then I think when Zambia got its independence, he was invited back, right? Something like that. If my memory,
he was allowed back, I think just before Zambia's independence, if I'm not.
Yes. So he was allowed back. He came back into the country. Imagine, I mean, like Kambo has said, these are men who stood on ground of principle and looked at a human being as a human being, not because of the color of the skin. And I like the point that Kambo also raised about people who fought for independence. It's like the civil rights movement here in the United States. You see, there were a lot of whites who stood up and didn't like that whole idea of what do you call it? What is this?
Segregation.
The segregation thing. Bernie Sanders is one of them. And he's one of those who stood up for many years and said, no, this is a bunch of nonsense. And that's why you see the people love him. The black people love him. And there were a lot of white people who stood up against that. So Zukas is an icon. And I greatly admired him. And he's one of those also on principle, because of the direction when FTJ started taking. I think it was him, Aka, Patel, and a few others, Levy, who resigned after they didn't agree with certain things. So you can see that his principled nature and character just went through and through in life. He never relented. So he's one of those.
Those are Kaunda's peers and children. Same school of thought, principle.
I can disagree with everything you've said. This man was very principled, true man of the soil. I mean, he stood his ground regardless. Whatever he believed in was for the betterment of the country. You mentioned that during Chiluba's time, they were one of those that left during the third term kind of thing, together with the Christian term, although he didn't go to join the FDD at that time. But throughout, he's been kind of principled, taking putting the country first. So as a freedom fighter, we need to start recognizing some of these guys rather than just all the black people.
Amen to that.
Maybe I might also just say something in thankfulness to a life well lived. He was as old as Kenneth David Kaunda. And he is a white man that stood up for black people when it wasn't fashionable to stand with black people. In fact, he stood up for black people when it was dangerous to stand with black people. So he's a courageous warrior, and we thank him as a new generation of Zambians who lived in a free country because of his contribution. He's a man with a Jewish heritage, and he's one of those Jewish families that stood their ground and called a spade. And when things were wrong, they didn't shy away from controversy. So we celebrate Mr. Zukas' life. He fought for us, and we're thankful.
Amen.
I like how the president has declared the national mourning on the day of the burial. I don't know, again, if I should be saying these things, but knowing me, someone complained, I'm a national mourning. Zambia. All we have heard is ordered the flags to be half-mast. I hope Abantu can do whatever they want to do, regardless, HH being a businessman, you will continue doing this. Consider one day national mourning, the way they have given this man. Life continues. We shall be giving out a shout out to some towns. So, which town, Mr. Francis Kombe, do we give a shout out next week? Not a town, but even a village town. Next week, we need to give out a shout out. Today it was Mufurira. Why? I don't know. I was just Googling And then there comes Mufulira, and my friend comes from Mufulira. I'm like, okay, these two things, they agree. Why don't I just add it on? So,
good job. Good job.
Yeah. Mufulira in the house, Mufulira in the house. But if you want a shout out to those who are listening live, you want a shout out to your home village or your hometown, please let me know. But send us a 10 kwacha. Maybe we can contribute to one of the kids in the village, in the school. You know, we can send it. You can send it there. So we want all the 105 Mwinsho towns in Zambia to be given a shout out here. Anything good? What is good about Mufulira now? I don't know if we can even remember. People there are very pompous. I know that, number one.
Whatever. We just speak our minds. We are not pompous. We are not afraid.
Mufulira refused to vote for.
Yeah,
Mufulira refused to vote for someone.
Shout out to Ndola and Imbala. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what we want. You know, we give. So next week I'll be giving out, but you don't give me two. Now you're giving me problems by cinema. Just give me one. Okay, I'll shout out to Mbala next week. Will be on my background here. I'll make it nice and lovely. Shout out to Mbala. Make sure you are here next week and probably say something good. What can be done?
Is that a modern picture of Mufulira?
Let Nathan tell us. Let Nathan tell us.
That looks like almost 40% CBC hapo. Tepanyeke hapo.
Mafken, effort to Chitaroko Mafken.
Background.
Background. So next week we'll give a shout out to Mbala. Our great uncle lives there. So some of the farms, maybe we'll give them 2 minutes, Nathan. Show a small video of something going on there. But if you can provide us with a nice video of Mbala, some of the things people can go and do in Mbala or outward bounds, you know, tourism. Give a shout out, a real one. Not
Air Force Base, fine.
Shout out to Dundumwezi. We see how it looks like.
So that one comes after next week.
Other week,
Dundumwezi. It is your job to prepare a slide and send it to me. Gentlemen, again, another show of unpacking. You see how you do things here. So we hope all our listeners, you were with us. You enjoyed our fighting. We want more ladies to be joining some of this discussion, you know, so we can. Yeah, I know. So next week, same time, I'm here with Mufulira on my background in Canada, loving home. Aurora Miti says, you people in diaspora who live in Zambia. Yeah. Okay, people. So until next week, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We went ahead and met
not that one.
on the continent, in the neighborhood, President Tshisekedi of Congo DR. You know, we share a long, long border with Congo DR. And we have a lot of opportunities as well as issues between ourselves and Congo DR over years. And we dedicated our